One of the up and coming stars of the dirt late model world is going to be venturing outside of the United States next month. He is going to be venturing to Australia. I'm pleased to have with us Myles Moos. How are you doing, sir? To talk
Good,
about his
man.
upcoming, we're going to talk about your upcoming trip to Australia. So, first off, kind of tell me how this all came together between you and Michael Holmes Racing. How did you end up working a deal together to go over to Australia here?
Yeah, so Saturday at the Dome is kind of a funny story, really. We can get in there at like 11 o'clock. So we had a lot of work to do and some tires and stuff. And I was kind of thrashing away in my trailer, mounting some tires. And in the meantime, just like grooving and siping them, trying to get ready. And uh, Michael walked into the trailer. I didn't know him at the time, and he just started chit chatting with me, and we talked for 30, 40 minutes. And I felt bad because I knew that I was going to run out of time if I stopped. So I just had to like keep working and talking to him all at the same time. And at the end of the conversation, he asked what I do for a living and stuff like that. And he was like, "Well, would you be interested in coming to Australia at the beginning of March and driving my race car?" And I stopped. I was like, "You have the right person?" He's like, "Yeah, yeah. He's been watching me, and he has a Barry Wright icon. He's a dealer for them over there, and I think that he, maybe sees the potential in me, and the work that I put into it to make a car that's maybe not so well known, especially like on the national scene. Not saying that I win a bunch of these big races or whatever, but I always feel like I'm in contention, sometimes. So I think that he just saw, the potential in me and knows that I work hard. And yeah, so he asked me, and I just kind of was shell shocked, and got his phone number, and uh, had to work some stuff out, like family and job, and because that's a big commitment to be gone for it's almost the whole month. So uh, yeah, we just stayed in touch, and finally I just said, you know what, I'm going to do it, and I'm leaving tomorrow at 3:30. So
So that's pretty exciting. So, from what I understand, you're going to be racing 6 nights, and you begin at Ellenbrook Speedway, and then you have 5 nights at the Perth Motorplex. Is that still kind of the deal?
yep. So we raced the first at Ellenbrook. I think we practice at Perth on Thursday, Wednesday or Thursday. We practice at Perth, and then we'll be there the rest of the time.
So, kind of, what kind of preparation are you doing before you head over there? Like, is there sim racing that you can do, or do they have those? Are those tracks available, or are there kind of tracks that Michael's told you about that might be similar that you can practice on, or have you done any? Like, what
So
does the preparation look like?
yeah, so uh, I personally don't own a sim. I've always wanted one. I've never, uh, I don't know. I just haven't bit the bullet and bought it all. I've been close many a times, but really, I've just been trying to keep my mind busy. Like I've been busy, getting my car back ready. So when I come back home, uh, we're ready to go. And watching a lot of videos. I mean, anytime I have free time, like last night when we were all getting ready for bed, I had my daughters, and my wife, and my wife was doing some schoolwork, and my oldest daughter, she's like, "What do you want to watch?" I'm like, "Well, let's watch a couple of races at Ellenbrook and at Perth." And we both just kind of sat there, and it was kind of funny because she was like picking out, uh, you know, she's been with me since she was born, and she's 10 now, so she knows. But she's like, "Oh yeah, did you see that? Like, there's a rut there going into one, and like they're kind of getting sideways coming out of two." And so just watching a lot of videos and kind of looking at times. And another thing I've been doing, which is kind of silly, but Google Maps, you can measure like a distance, and I've just been trying to measure out like uh, you know corner length and size and width compared to like tracks that I've raced at, and you know, just going back, maybe looking at times from a track that's similar and trying to figure out, where I need to be when we go
Which
there. So,
which tracks would you say are kind of similar to those two?
I would say Tri-City is probably the closest to Perth. Ellenbrook's kind of weird. I haven't found one that exactly matches up. Um, I would say Spoon River is about the closest I can find, but it's not as banked. Like it's a lot flatter. So um, I'm not so worried about uh, Ellenbrook just because it looks like a racetrack I'll be pretty comfortable at. It's it's bigger than Peoria. Uh, I don't know. I've had a hard time finding one that matches up with that one, but it's more of like a rough and tumble. Get up on the wheel. The can be a cushion. It can be kind of rough. So and that's stuff that I like.
Right. Yeah. So you were talking a little bit about how Michael Holmes kind of caught your eye. You kind of caught my eye when you were racing with the Flow series last year, and you ran 4 races with them. You had a top 5 and I think 2 top 10s of those 4 races, and you really put on a show. I thought at Macon, you ran really well there. So I'm really excited to see what you do over here. Is there any way where we can kind of like watch? Or like, how would we be able to watch you compete over there?
Yeah, so they will live stream it. It's called Clay Per View. Um, Now, watching it live may be a difficult task because it's 14 hours ahead, Central Time. So when people are like waking up to go to work at 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning, like you might be able to catch the feature. But they're really good about it, about uploading the stuff on YouTube, and they have a YouTube channel that's Clay Per View. And I'm also going to try my hardest to. I'm going to try documenting like this whole thing. I'm not great at it, so we'll see how it plays out. But I've got my GoPro's charged, and I've got my phone, so I'm going to try doing what I can.
So what is kind of your main goal going over there? Obviously, there's I think what we said 6 races, right? 5 of them are at Perth. You want to win all of them, or what are your expectations? What is your primary goal heading over there?
Um, I mean, I'm a race car driver, so my primary goal is to go over there and win. You know, I think I'm going to be. I think we're going to be pretty good. He has the same car as I do, so I've spent 2 days and I've got every measurement written down. So I'm going to try getting his car as close to mine, as I can. And then Matt Logan with ML Performance, we're kind of working together because I can't just ship my shocks there to race on them, and I can't, Michael couldn't ship his, so we're kind of working together to get dyno numbers and build sheets and stuff in case we need to change some stuff. But yeah, I mean, my goal, obviously, I want to go there and win. Realistically, I think we can do it as long as nothing happens. But if I finish in the top 3, top 5 every night, I think that I will be happy with that. I think Mike will be happy with that too. There's some really good competitors over there too. So, uh, but I'm trying to keep my head up and stay confident, because when it comes down to it, I race against some of the best guys in the country every weekend. So, I mean, that could be a local race at Fairbury or when Lucas Oil or World of Outlaws show up. And I think that I've proven myself with that I can be there. It's just sometimes finishing races has been an issue. So
Yeah. Doesn't help when you get wrecked, right? At the dome.
yeah, or have a tire fall off the PDC, or just make a wrong
Right.
tires race. Like it's just there's a lot of stuff that goes into these cars that I don't think a lot of people really truly understand. So
So you kind of talked about how you're trying to make the car almost exactly like your car, as similar as you possibly can. Are there any big differences to the racing in Australia compared to here? For people who might not be familiar with what's going on over there, is it pretty pretty close?
Yes, so they actually like the rule book follows UMP, like World of Outlaw, like body rules. They do not have the droop rule there. They still go by the deck height. Uh, but when it comes down to like the actual rules of the race car, like they're all the same. I mean, I could send my car there and it would be the exact same. So besides the droop rule. Um, as far as I kind of understand how uh, so in America, normally, you pill draw for where you qualify. Um, there you pill draw, and I'm still trying to get a grasp on it. So you pill draw for where you start in a heat, but they actually have two heats. So you run two heats, and they average it by the points. And I'm trying to figure out if they go by passing points. Like, I don't know if I start fourth in the first heat and I win, like, does that mean I start in the back of the second heat, or is it pill draw for both? That's something I haven't quite pinpointed yet, but that's really the only difference.
Okay, so they might have like be more like Chili Bowl than what we see with like World Outlaws or Lucas Oil.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. So one of the other thing, I got another question here. So obviously you talked about coming back. So you plan on competing. You said you're getting your car ready. You're going to compete weekly again at Fairbury, or what are your plans for the rest of the year after you come back?
Um, so I haven't released this yet, and Brent hasn't released it yet either, but um so at the end of the year, I finished the year out with Brent McKinnon, the 26 car. Him and I grew, and his whole family, we just bonded like immediately. He's in the same stuff I am. We're both very compassionate about race cars and hunting and, all that stuff. So it's going to be kind of a mixture of me driving, my family owned 84 stuff, and then, we're still working on the schedule, but it's gonna be a mixture of my car and his car. So, which I think will work out really well. But yeah, I've got a. I'm still working on the schedule, but we got a big year planned. So,
Can confirm PDC though.
oh yeah, I
Okay,
wouldn't miss that for the world.
good. Um, and so in the dome? Will you be back at the dome?
Unfortunately, yes, I that's my plan as of now. Yeah,
Love hate there, or
but truly, like true definition of a love hate relationship. I love that place, but I also hate it at the same time. Like, seems like every year we go, like there's they change something from the year prior, and it like this year, and this is my own fault, I guess, for not checking it, but every other year that I've been, your preliminary race, if you finish in the top four, you make it to the main event. Well, I thought that was the case this year. So, I'm running fourth in the preliminary, and I had a chance to get by Gordy one time, and I got underneath him, and I backed out because I'm like, you know what? He's third, I'm fourth. Felt pretty confident that I was going to finish there. Wasn't many laps left, so was happy with fourth, right? And I get back to the trailer, and I had a couple of my crew guys come up, or friends. They're like, hell yeah, like we're in the show. And then my dad comes back. He's like, oh yeah, we got to run a last chance tomorrow. I'm like, what? And he's like, well, it's top three. So I ran into the trailer and I rewinded it because my buddy was like, no, they said top four. Well, rewinded it and they did. They said, Myles Moos finished fourth. He's in the last transfer to get to the A main on Saturday. So I'm like, no, they just said that I'm in. And then I can't remember who I sent a message to, someone with Flow, and they're like, no, it was top three. And I'm like, shoot. So, and then obviously what happened, but
have you talked to him about that, or just moved on? The guy that I can't remember his name
no,
off the top of my head.
Derek Fisher.
Yeah, Fisher. That's it.
I haven't. We had a discussion, I guess I should say, after the races. Um, but I could have done that to someone. Like, I know how the race in there works. And there's a slow-mo video. And if you watch the series of events that happen, it's almost, it's not impossible because it happened, but the odds of it had to be, so when he came in, he started bouncing and he hit the final rut and it brought his right rear tire up and it landed right on my, like it landed on my nose and it just dug it into the ground and whipped me around. And then, as I whipped around, there was just happened to be a freaking metal post there. So, if he wouldn't have hit that rut and just kind of tagged me, like there probably wouldn't have been any sort of like, because I was trying to turn and get back underneath him. Um, it's just, it happened so fast. Like I just didn't have enough time. But even if he didn't hit that rut and jump up on my nose, he probably would have just, skid across my nose, maybe bump me a little bit, but it wouldn't have whipped me around like it did. So I used to be really bad about uh, let my emotions get the best of me. And, when I got out of the car, I was not happy. Um, I wanted to do a lot of things, but I felt like it was in my best interest just to, take the high road and your night's done there anyway. Like I could have ran over there and made a fool of myself, and it just would have proved nothing. And I don't want that reputation for myself and my team. We work hard, and it's just it wasn't worth it to me. Now, did we have a discussion in the pits afterwards? Absolutely. But to make myself look like a fool on national TV, like I didn't want to do that, and even though he took my chances away of making it, I didn't want to take his chances away because it takes a lot of work to get there and a lot of money. So he ended up not making it. I'm not saying it's good or bad, but can't say I was disappointed.
All right, so I got one more question here, and I probably should have started this at the beginning, but like, kind of, what are your emotions heading over to Australia? Like, obviously, you said you're gonna head over there tomorrow. How are you feeling? Are you confident? Are you anxious? Are you nervous? Do you think that the time change is gonna mess with you? Like, what is kind of running through your mind this here day before you're about to fly over?
All of the above. Freaking out a little bit. I have some anxiety about the flight, mostly because I fly out of Chicago to Dallas Fort Worth on American Airlines, and then I have to get on its company. It's called Qantas from Dallas Fort Worth to Sydney, and then from Sydney to Perth. And I'm still trying to figure it out, but I'm trying to figure out if I need to grab my luggage and recheck it in when I get to Dallas because I'm going on technically another airline. Um, and then I have an hour, 45-minute layover in Sydney, and I'm hoping that that is enough time to get my bag, get through customs, get from the international terminal to the domestic terminal, and make it to my flight. Luckily, it seems like about every hour there's a flight that leaves out of Sydney to Perth. So I'm gonna try making it, obviously, but if I don't, I think that it'll just probably put me on the next flight. As far as uh, time change goes, I'm not too worried about that. I've been trying to kind of I've been staying up later, trying to somewhat get on their schedule. So when I do go there, hopefully it's not as big of a shock, and I can adapt to that stuff pretty well. So not super worried about that. Um, it's just I was really calm about everything up until like 2 nights ago, and the only reason why my buddy Dusty, he's like, man, aren't you like getting anxious or nervous or anything about this? And I'm like, no, man, I'm like, flight's booked, as long as I get my stuff packed, like everything's fine. And then I got home that night, my brain just started turning. I'm like, well, shit, like, am I gonna have enough time to do this? Am I gonna have enough time to do that? Um, but as long as I get there, it'll be fine. But I am feeling pretty confident racing wise, when I get there. Um, Michael's a great guy, and I think well, he's going to do everything in his power to make sure that we have everything that we need um, to go be successful. Being away from my kids, and my wife's going to come for a week, so that won't be so
Hmm.
bad. But being away from my kids for almost a month, that's going to be difficult. Uh, so I'm gonna have to figure out a schedule with that to FaceTime them and try and keep in as much contact as I can. So I'm excited, ready to get the trip technically over with there. But I feel like once I get there, I'm just gonna want to stay. So
Well, hopefully you come back and you come back bringing home some trophies. Show those guys over there down under that Americans mean business, and bring back those trophies back here stateside.
yeah,
So
that's one thing I've kind of thought about was I don't know. As far as I know, I'm really the only U.S. guy going over there, which is kind of a shell shock to me. Um, so in my mind, it might not seem like this to anyone else, but it's like represent. It's like the Olympics, represent the U.S. Got to go over there and you know show them what's up. But
are you bringing a flag?
uh, no, no, I. This might be kind of funny, but I washed a pair of my shoes last night for some odd reason. I wear Hey Dudes. I love Hey Dudes, but put them in the dryer, and I went to get them out this morning, and I don't know why I put them in the dryer, but they had like literally the whole shoe had just shrunk. So I'm actually going to the store right now to buy a new pair, but they have these Hey Dudes with like the American flag on them, and I'm like this close to buying them just to wear at the racetrack, but I don't think I want to do that.
Well, if you win, you can be like the Olympic athletes. Get that flag. Maybe someone will find one for you there. Get it to you, and you can kind of have it in the podium
Yeah.
picture. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, I think that they're pretty good about that. I think they'll have it.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, thank you so much for taking time out of your day talking to us about your trip to Australia. I do wish you really good luck. I'll definitely be checking into that. What was it, clay provision? Or is that what you called it?
Play per view. Yep.
Clay per view. Okay. And being able to hopefully see you bring home a couple trophies. That'd be great.
Yeah, if I can, just real quick, like I want to thank a few people because um, there's a lot of people who've invested a lot of time and a lot of money into me to get me to this stage, like in my life and in my racing career. But like my dad, we've been doing this since we were 4.5, and there's been so many times where I'm like, "Hey, we need to stop. Like we're we're out of our mind. We're spending way too much money." But there's been he's just never given up on me. And sorry, uh, he's just never given up on me, and none of this would be possible without that. So sorry. And then my wife, like she's been super supportive of everything, like spending the nights at the shop and at the track, and she's never once batted an eye. And uh, you don't find that very often. Um, and then I had a guy, his name's Jeff Dunham. He stepped up last year and just anything that I've needed for my own personal car, uh, he's gone above and beyond to help me out. And it's just stuff that you dream about, when you're a kid, that you meet these people and you just wonder like how these guys keep racing at the level that they do. And like I'm starting to understand that it's not even a team. Like you need a full blown
Army.
and you need an army. And I'm starting to kind of build that up, and I have a lot of people that are supporting me, and uh, it's just been great. So um, them are the three people I really want to thank, and then obviously all my sponsors that have been with me for a long time, and all my friends and family and crew that have, you know, some of my crew guys, like all my crew guys, have just been friends of mine. Like they just, hey, do you need help work on the race car? And some help longer than others. And my buddy Christian, we met through, my job, and turn into, we're best friends, and he helps me on the race car. Now he's got a kid and a wife, so that's kind of slimmed down a little bit, but you know a lot of people put in a lot of time to help me out, and just can't thank them enough.
All right. Well, thank you so much. And again, best of luck over there in Australia, and hope you bring home a couple trophies back here stateside.
Yeah, I'll definitely gonna try.